Hi, Patreon, and next month it'll be YouTube as well. This is Kenny Smith with Total Force Holdings Incorporated. Now, I got my camera in a little bit different position than where I normally would, but that's because you need to be able to see my feet in this video. This is the first educational part of our foundation series, which is going to cover your basic fighting posture and some of the basics of footwork. So when I start talking footwork stuff later on in this series, you won't be clueless. So, when we look at a fighting posture, in a lot of martial arts you hear it called a stance. Well, to me, a stance is a fixed position. I'll use a posture because we're not fixed, we're moving. The thing about something being fixed is it's easy to hit. Alright, I don't like being easy to hit. I'm a pretty big guy as it is. It's not very hard to hit a big fella. Okay, so obviously I'm not fond of the idea of making myself any easier to hit than I already am. So we're going to use a fighting posture here. The big thing about a fighting posture is balance. If we are not in balance, then we're already at a losing proposition here. Once you're off balance, you stand more likelihood of being knocked down. Knockdown turns this into a ground fight, and well, I don't really mind fighting on the ground on mats or even on concrete that's smooth like what I'm standing on now. I really don't want to do it out in the parking lot where I'm on rocks and gravel and broken glass and old heroin needles and whatever else, okay? Really not a good place to be. So, we're going to start with our basic fighting posture, and the big thing is balance. When we're naturally balanced, our feet are right underneath our ankles are right underneath our knees are right underneath our hips, and our hips are right underneath our shoulders. This is how we stand when we're just standing around doing nothing, okay? So, what I want you to do is, one foot, I don't really care which one, we'll discuss towards the end of this series, not the series, but this video rather, how you determine which hand you want forward and which hand you want rear. And I'll spend a couple of minutes talking about why either one is more desirable. So for me, when it comes to a hand-to-hand combatives, I like to take what's known as a southpaw stance, which is the left hand in the rear. I have my reasons for that, and I'll go over that in a few minutes. So, since I like my left hand in the rear, my right foot is going to be the one to take a normal walking step forward. If you're on Patreon, you have a credit card, okay? That means you're over a certain age. So you've been walking for a while. I don't need to tell you how to take a normal walking step. You've taken trillions of them in your life probably. So I'm going to take one normal walking step forward with my right foot. Just a normal walking step. All right? And I'm going through my talking points as I go to make sure I don't experience mission drift here. I'm filming off my computer, and I got this all on Google Docs on my phone. We got our feet naturally spread, right? We've already discussed that. We took a normal walking step forward. Now what I want you to do is your elbows, put them tight into your body. The reason you do this is we'll discuss after we talk about bringing our hands up. At this point, you're going to bend your arms at the elbows to bring your hands up to about face level. All right? Now, from a boxer's perspective, they want them up here, touching. I've got nothing against boxing, but when you're boxing, you're wearing heavy padded gloves, and I don't have any close by. I've got some over there, but I don't feel like walking out of frame. So, we don't have heavy padded gloves right now, so we don't want to do this, because if something hits my fist, it's still hitting me in the face. That hurts. I don't like that. All right, my face is ugly enough as it is. I don't need some extra scars, especially caused by my own knuckles. So we're going to put our hands out in front of our face. Notice my elbows are still tight to my body. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and kind of pivot over so y'all can see this. My hands are in front of my face, and I know because of these fluorescent lights up above me, it's kind of hard to see with my workout boards back here behind me. I've got my hands in front of my face, okay, not in front of my body, because if they're back here, I have to reach to block or deflect. All right, they're up at the bottom. That's a 90. So they're up here. From the shoulder, they're about 45 degrees out. Okay? One hand is slightly in front of the other. That's why it's the front hand. One hand slightly in the rear, and hence the rear hand. My hands are also open. All right, and we'll discuss that in a minute. All right, I'm staying relaxed. The next thing we're going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and stay sideways for this, is I'm going to bend at the knees just ever so slightly. All right, I'm not over here doing a squat. I'm just bending my knees a little bit. When I do that, I'm going to roll my weight, and I'm over-exaggerating. I'm just going to roll my weight forward, so I'm up here on the balls of my feet. That way it's easier for me to move than when I have my weight back on my heels. All right, so I'm up on the balls of my feet, my knees are bent, my arms are nice and relaxed. I keep my hands open. There's a few reasons for this. One, if I'm pounding on somebody and the police show up, it looks like I'm beating the hell out of them. If my hands are open, Okay? And one, it looks to the witnesses like I'm slapping them around, which may or may not be true. Two, it doesn't look like I'm throwing punches. It looks like I'm saying, get away from me, not let's throw down. Also, the palm, and we'll get this in our striking video in a couple of weeks, our palm is much stronger and much harder to break than our fist. The fist gets broken from punching people so easily, there's a medical term for it called a boxer's fracture. So, obviously, we don't want a boxer's fracture. I've had a few of those. They really hurt. So, we don't want to deal with that. If we can hit with the palm, that's better. But the biggest reason I keep my hands open is because it keeps them more relaxed. If I stay tensed up, this builds up lactic acid in my forearms, and they start to hurt and cramp. Anybody that was in the Marine Corps and done the gripper exercise for any length of time knows what I'm talking about here. So you've got your fist clenched. Now it's harder. You have to open your hand and take more effort to block, deflect, and hopefully grab, so we can use a joint lock or something like that. Because wrenching using leverage and anatomical weaknesses is a whole lot more efficient than pounding someone into oblivion. So if we can do that, the better. If we have to open our hand and then grab, that's another motion. We may miss that grab. If our hand's already open, we can go ahead and hook it and do what we need to do. So, big thing. Stand naturally. Feet under ankles, ankles under knees, knees under hips, hips under shoulders. One, walking step forward with what's going to be the front foot. Elbows tight to your body. Hands come up, nice and relaxed. Hands open. Bend the knees slightly, body weight goes forward. Now, with the elbows tight, we don't need to move our hands to cover our midsection. We can use just the elbows to do it. If we lift our elbows up, we start getting all this fun stuff in here that really sucks to get hit on. So we keep our elbows down, hands out in front of us, body weight forward, and there's a few other tricks you can get into later, but with this being a foundational video, we're going to leave it at that. So there's your basic fighting posture. Now, the cool thing is, weapon is clear. All right, and this is one of my handguns here that we're going to deal with. It's a Glock 19C that I cut the grip on to run Glock 26 magazine, and we've already established this weapon is clear. When we take a step out with that walking step forward and our feet in a natural posture and push out here, what is the real difference? All right, and I'll go center on center here. All right, we're in a shooting posture. Setting the weapon down. We're in a shooting posture, right? I'll bring my elbows in and roll my hands out. Where are we now? It's the same mechanics. The only thing different is our hand and elbow placement. Okay? I like that. I like that type of consistency. So we've got the same posture. The next thing we're going to cover in this video, and these foundational videos are going to be fairly long. I'm going to go ahead and apologize for that now. We have our basic body posture down, so now we're going to work on our footwork. All right? We're just dealing with basic footwork right now, okay? Why? Because we'll get into footwork drills and TTP later. So we're going to deal with linear movement first. Linear movement, that means we're moving in a straight line, not circling. There's a time and a place for both. There are realistically 8 directions that we can move in linearly. Forward, rearward, to our left, to our right. Off at obliques, forward and right, rearward and right, forward and left, rearward and left. The direction we're moving, that foot moves first. It's a little complicated in the obliques, but we're going to get to that directly. So, we're starting a basic fighting posture, right? We're already there. All right. When I'm going forward, I'm moving forward. We've already established that. My back foot pushes off. My front foot moves. My back foot catches up. My feet end up in the same place they just were. All right. Because I'm running out of room, I'm going ahead and deal with to the rear. Same thing in reverse. Push off the front foot. Back foot moves first. Catch up to the front. Forward. Rearward. Forward. Rearward. Take a wild guess what happens when we're moving to the right. The right foot moves first. Left foot catches up. Moving to the left. Left foot moves first. Right foot catches up. Forward. Rearward. Right. And left. Alright? Pretty simple stuff, right? So now, we get started talking about moving off to the obliques. It's a little tricky, alright? Because if we're moving forward, the front foot moves, but no. Overcomplicating. Forward and right. You're moving to the right. Your right foot moves first. Right foot, then left. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the left and rear to make sure I stay in frame. Left, then right. I'm cutting off at that 45. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take side steps. I'm getting ready to go forward to the left. This is where we start getting cross-dominant, right? Left foot moves, and I just have to take a little bit of a step to the rear and to the right. Notice my feet are not crossing. You can still see a gap of air between my legs. All right, so we have forward, backwards, left, right. Right front, left rear. I gotta go, might go off frame a little bit here. Left front, right and rear. All right. Forward and rearward, the front foot or the rear foot, depending on the direction you're moving, moves first. To the right, your right foot moves first. To the left, your left foot moves first. Forward and to the right, or anyway to the right, your right foot moves first. If I'm going forward to the right, I step forward and right with my right foot. If I'm moving to the rear and right, I step to the rear and right with my right foot. Forward and to the left. Forward and left with my left. To the rear and left. To the rear and left with my left foot. Always, 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 always remember 3 things. 1, keep your hands up. Never cross your feet is number 2. And number 3, you always come back to your original posture. There's absolutely nothing wrong with videoing yourself doing this and seeing where your feet end up. Or, I'm moving around a little bit, forward, back, right, left. I checked myself. Okay, cool, I'm close enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no exact science to where your feet need to end up. Just make sure you're staying in balance. You got your knees bent a little bit. You roll forward on the balls of your feet so you move faster. Your elbows stay in, your hands stay up. All right, it's pretty simple. The biggest thing is staying in balance. If you end up way out here, you're not in balance because you're easily off balanced on this angle. Conversely, if you end up standing at POA, you're off balance at every angle. POA being position of attention for nobody who ever went in the military, okay, or ROTC or anything like that. Nothing against you if you did or didn't. It just is what it is, okay? So you need to make sure you're staying in balance. The direction you're moving, that foot moves first, and then you catch up to it. So now we're going to discuss circling. There's really only 2 ways you can circle. You can circle forward, or you can circle to your rear, or retreating, an advancing or retreating circle. If I'm going forward, obviously if I have my right foot forward like I like, my right foot moves first, and I cut off at that angle. If I'm circling to the rear, my back foot moves first. If I switch postures, now when my left foot moves, I'm going forward. My right foot moves, I'm going to the rear. All right, again, when you're circling especially, don't get in this habit. See that? That foot cross, that's a no-go. All right, if you cross your feet, you are off balance. So, circling, forward, rearward. Okay? Stay up on the balls of your feet. The direction you're moving, that foot moves first. Chase back to your normal body posture. So, just to recap, basic body posture for fighting. Feet underneath your ankles, ankles underneath your knees, knees underneath your hips, hips underneath your shoulders. Take 1 walking step forward. Elbows tight against your body. Hands come up and out in front, preferably open so they stay relaxed. Knees bend, roll up on the balls of your feet. To move forward, front foot then rear. To the rear, back foot then front. To your right, right foot then left. To your left, left foot then right. Forward and right, right foot then left. Notice I'm cutting at 45. To the left and rear, left foot then right. Forward and left, left foot then right. To the rear and right, right foot then left. Circling forward, circling rearward. Switching feet, circling forward, circling rearward. Alright, hope you enjoyed this foundational series, at least this first video. This is the stuff that kind of gets kind of boring. I get it, totally. I used to think this was boring too, but I promise you right now, good footwork will save you a lot of pain later. Alright, stay tuned for part 2, and that should be posting up next week. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you being a Patreon subscriber. This is Kenny Smith, Total Force Holdings, reminding you to stay safe, stay frosty, stay dangerous, and stay in the fight.